Right now we're on lesson 2.4, which is all about writing linear equations. We're going to go over some forms of linear equations, but mainly we're going to stick with one form, and that's y equals mx plus b. If you have this form for a linear equation, the m is going to be your slope, the b is going to be your y-intercept. This is where it starts on the y-axis, the up and down axis, not the left and right axis. So go to the up and down axis, start on this point B, wherever that is. The m, which is the coefficient of x, that is the number or fraction or whatever is in front of the x here, that's your rise over run. That's where you go from this starting point. This is your starting point. This is where to go from there. Okay? So we're going to look at a few examples of writing an equation given a slope and a point. So if we are given an equation in slope-intercept form, or actually we are asked to write an equation in slope-intercept form, that is this form, that would have a slope of -3/5, and it passes through the point 5, -2. Now this 5, -2, we don't have a spot to plug in a point here, but in a sense we actually do. This is an x and a y value. Well, we have an x and a y variable right here. So we can replace x and y with these. So our steps for writing an equation with this slope and this point, we can put it in point-slope form, but it might be just as easy to do it in slope-intercept form. So we start with our basic slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Plug in the slope for m and the x and the y into the x and y spots. That will look something like this. Our m, the slope, is right here, -3/5. Y is this -2, it goes right here. X is this +5, it goes right here. So we have -2 equals -3/5 of 5 plus b. So now we need to solve for b. We need to get b all by itself. So we multiply this -3/5 times 5, and we would get -3. So -2 equals -3 plus b. Only at b alone, we just add 3 to both sides, and we'll get that b equals 1, or 1 equals b. b is the same as saying 1. So, looks like we know right here, that's our m value, that's our b value. We have m and b. So now we just rewrite our equation as y equals mx plus b, making sure to put in actual numbers for m and b. So here's our y equals m, which was -3/5, times x, plus whatever our b value was. So it'd be 1 in this case. So this is the equation then. It has this slope, and we can plug this point in here, and it would work. If we were to graph this on a coordinate grid, this line would for sure pass through this point. All right, we're going to do the same thing again. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that has a slope of -3/2, passes through -4, 1. Plug in the slope and the point for x and y into our y equals mx plus b equation. So y was 1, it's right here. M, or our slope, was -3/2, right here. And -4 is our x, that's right here. We still don't know our b, that's what we're trying to solve for. So multiply -3/2 times -4. This is in a way kind of like saying take -4, divide it by 2, so we get -2, and then times it by this -3. So -2 times -3, +6. Okay, so we have 1, that's right here, equals 6, that's right here, plus b. So we have to subtract 6 from both sides, and we would get that -5 equals b. So we know our m value, that's right here. We know our b value, that's right here. Plug it into our y equals mx plus b equation. Y equals m x plus b. It's right there. So y equals -3/2 x minus 5. Now you might be asking, why is it that we do plus b and you have -5 right here? Well, technically, we're adding a -5. This would be -3/2 x plus -5. But when you add a -5, you can just say -5. So that would be where that equation comes from. Now we're going to be looking at 2 points. Writing an equation if we're only given 2 points. So if we're looking at y equals mx plus b, we don't really have an m or a b, but we do have an x and a y. In fact, we have 2 x's. Right here, this 2 and this negative 3. We have 2 y's, negative 3 right here, and 7. With these 2 points, we can find the slope. And remember, the formula for finding slope, if you've forgotten, I'll write it again, is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay, take your second y value minus your first y value, all over, take your second x value minus your first x value. So find the slope, plug in the slope and an x and a y into the equation, solve for b, write out as y equals mx plus b. These are the exact same steps as before, only we have one extra piece. We have to find the slope first. So take beaker out of the way here. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is the same as saying we'll put this 7 in for y2. We'll put this negative 3 in for y1. This was our second y, this was our first y. All over, put this negative 3 in for x2. Put this 2 in for x1. Get rid of that piece. So 7 minus negative 3 minus a negative is like adding. 7 add 3 is 10. Negative 3 minus 2, so negative 3 go down 2 more, you're at negative 5. 10 over negative 5. Positive over negative is negative. That's where this comes from. 10 over 5 is 2. So we have a negative 2. So that means our m, or our slope, is negative 2. Now we have a slope. In fact, I'm going to circle that, or underline it at least. We have a slope and we have a point. Actually, we have 2 of them. We could use either one, plug it in, and we would solve for the exact same b. It has to come out to the exact same, but we're going to plug in that first one. Whoops. So negative 3 goes right here. Positive 2 goes right here. Negative 2 for slope goes out front. So y equals mx plus b. And we don't know our b value yet. Moving right along. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So negative 3 equals negative 4 plus b. We're going to have to add 4 to both sides, in which case we get 1 equals b. Okay, from there now, we'll just plug our b value and our m value into y equals mx plus b, and we get y equals negative 2, that was our m, times x plus positive 1. That's our b. So this would be our equation that would go through these 2 points. So again, steps are use these 2 to find the slope, plug in the slope and one of these points, doesn't matter which one, solve for b, and y equals your m value that you figured out times x plus your b value that you figured out. We're going to look at linear equations in a real-world situation. So for this example, we're going to be looking at sales. So as a part-time salesperson, Jean Stock is paid a daily salary plus commission. So every day she gets paid a certain amount, no matter what, plus she gets commission. Commission means you're getting paid extra for how much you sell. So if you sell a certain amount of whatever it is you're selling, you get paid more based on how much you sell. So it says when her sales are $100, so when she sells $100 worth of stuff, she makes $58 in total. So that was her daily salary plus some extra commission. When her sales are $300, she makes $78. So notice, she sold $200 more right here than she did here. She made more money, $20 in fact, right here. So when she sells more, she earns more. So it says write a linear equation to model this situation. Well, first we need to find our slope. Now technically we have 2 points. We have an x and a y value for 2 different places. We have one that says her sales, 100, is our x value. When she sells $100, she makes 58. So she would earn 58. So there's that point on there somewhere. In fact, if we wanted to graph it, we would say sales 100, she makes, so it's going to be about right there, 58. Okay, there's another point, I'll do this one in blue, where if she sells 300, she will make 78. Same thing. If we plot it on the line, or on the graph, 300, somewhere up here is 78. Okay, so there are 2 points that show this is how much money she's earning. If she sells $100 worth of stuff, she earns $58. If she sells $300 worth of stuff, she gets $78. So we need to find what the slope between these 2 points is. So we take our 2 y values, 78 and 58, subtract them. We take our 2 x values, 300 and 100. We subtract them. 78 minus 58 is 20. 300 minus 100 is 200, so 20 over 200 is the same as 1/10. We have a slope of 1/10. Okay, now we need to plug that into our y equals mx plus b equation. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of this one. So we'll use that very first point right there. X is 100, y is 58, so 58 equals 1/10, 1 over 10, times 100 plus b. When you figure that out, 1/10 of 100 is 10. Subtract 10 from both sides, and we get that b is going to be 48. If we put that into our equation, then we'd say y equals 1/10 x plus 48. Okay, this is telling us we start on our y-axis at 48. So I guess we can even plot that. I'm going to use green. Plot that about right there, saying we start at 48. Okay. According to this equation, what are Mrs. Stock's daily salary and her commission rate? Well, no matter what, even if she sells 0 amount of stuff, if she shows up and has a bad day, no matter what, how much money is she going to make? She makes this 48. That would be the daily salary then. Her daily salary is 48. It has to be because she makes that no matter what. What is her commission rate then? So technically, she's making 1/10 of all of her sales, or 10%. So if she sells $100 worth of stuff, she earns an extra $10. 1/10 of 100 is $10 plus the 48. That's how we got 58. Same thing. If she sells $300 worth of stuff, 1/10 of that, or 10% of that, is $30. $30 plus the 48 that she makes no matter what. That's how we got to 78. So her daily salary, $48. Her commission rate is 1/10 of her sales, or you can think of it as 10%. 1/10 is the same as 10%. So if we wanted to, we could connect this line then to show exactly how much she's going to make. Oh, we were a little bit off on our dots. We're going to call that close though. This line, anywhere on this line, is exactly how much she's going to be making given her sales. So even if she sold $0, we know she'd be making $48. If she sold 200, it would be somewhere up here, probably around 70. Okay, I think it would actually come out to, what is that? 68, exactly. So, how much would Jean make in a day if her sales were 500? Well, sales is what we were calling on our x-axis, so we just plug 500 in for x. So if y equals 1/10 x plus 48, we plug in 500 for that x value. 1/10 of 500 is going to be 50. So 50 plus 48 would have to come out to 98. So she makes $98. She sells $500 worth of stuff. She earns a total of $98. We're going to call it good for the first half of our video. We'll wrap it up with parallel and perpendicular in our next video.